How's it going, guys? Today we're going to go over ways to improve your sweep picking and also ways to incorporate it into your solos and melody lines. So as we begin this process, you're going to want to loosen up before you start. The whole idea is to make this a nice fluid motion. Just be nice and loose, shake off the hands a little bit, make sure your hands aren't this wound up spring. So for context on that opening arpeggio sequence, I'm using the B minor add 9 arpeggio, followed by the F sharp minor. That's going to repeat one more time, and then on that climb up is the D sus2 and the E major at the end. So with all of these arpeggios, I'm actually using the fifth of the arpeggio in the bass for each one. So from top to bottom, the first and last note you're going to play is the fifth of the arpeggio. All over the context of the B minor scale, it has this big 5-to-1 feel maintaining throughout. You're going to want to compartmentalize what your hands are doing and make sure they're syncing up. So to make this easier, I thought we would break it down into hands. Starting with the right, think about what you're doing when you're strumming a chord. It's a nice... You don't have a picking sound going through. So you can begin to develop this technique through just simply... and take it at a very slow pace. Make sure your right hand is ready to just maintain a fluid motion. So make sure every note is played to its full duration. Also, you don't want strings ringing out as you're traveling across. There's a lot of motion here. So you see this fatty bit below your thumb over here? Lightly press that on the strings as you go to mute them. To mute out the ringing, not to palm mute them. Nice smooth hand motion. It's absolutely fine to not be moving your whole arm back and forth as you go to try to create speed. You're going to want to remain pretty stationary from the elbow up actually. The forearm rested there, so it's kind of locking it in. Because if you're going to be on stage kind of jumping around, you're going to want to do that anyway. The wrist is doing the smooth motion back and forth. It's not trying to go this way to create the speed. Minimum movement needed. So your hand position is very important when you're trying arpeggios. Different hand placements can serve different purposes. If you're trying to go and really dig into the fretboard, your thumb is going to help pull your fingers into it tight and with everything. So with arpeggios, you're trying to flow across the chord numbers. You see where your fingers are when you're up going. The thumb is over top of that fretboard. So look what happens when you swing your thumb around the back and it's in the middle of the neck. All four fingers out here are more accessible. It gives you much more flexibility to be spread out and smooth. If you go at an angle, and if you don't take your time, build it up with a metronome and have every note played full duration, you're gonna sound rushed, you're gonna sound off balance. So with your left hand, you're not pushing terribly hard, but you're making sure you are pressing down nice and clean. You're not shaking it at all, but you're making sure that you're hitting every single note full and not rushing to get up to the time if you're falling behind. If you find yourself doing this, slow your metronome down. And that's why playing with a metronome is so important. Start to feel a pulse as you're going with the metronome. Which leads me to my next point. As you play with a metronome, don't become a robot. Feel a pulse as you go. I almost like bob my head back and forth to it as I'm feel a rhythm, feel it in your soul. But the whole idea is to hear every note nice and pure. Now that you have the left and right hand all synced up, ready to go, nice and loose, let's go and run those four arpeggios from the beginning in a nice slow pace. Again, take your time with this stuff and use the metronome, do it right. Now talking about incorporating these into your solos, no one is really going to want to hear you go top to bottom arpeggios over and over again, but have a melodic approach to them. Realize that they're highlighting a whole scale, a whole key, members of that, and there's ways to branch out into different neighborhoods as you're going in the sweep. If you refer back to the solo in the beginning of the video, I kind of stop in the middle of an arpeggio to enter into B minor scale runs that turn out to deliver a phrase. Go back, listen to some blues, and work on your phrasing. Kind of bursting these arpeggios into your melodic phrasing is really going to help juice up your solos. Think about dynamics. Think about telling a story with your playing. Thanks again, guys. Don't forget to head over to the channel and subscribe if you like the content. I'm going to be keeping up with these instructional videos, but over at the channel I have much more solo work. Ice Giant and Vivisipulture are going to be coming out with albums soon. Stay updated, shred hard, and thank you very much. You guys have a great day.